Hello, me at the top of the episode, as always, to remind you that we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/won't be forgetting that pod. Pretty much helps this show run. So if you can afford it, a couple of bucks a month really does go a long way. There's also exclusive content on there for you, ad-free episodes. The episodes go up early announcements as well. So if you can, patreon.com/won't be forgetting that pod. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all of the most awkward and embarrassing moments people have had whilst working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are a comedian, a writer, an actor, Jordan Barr.
Bonjour.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, mate.
Thank you for having me, my former manager.
Oh my God. All right. So a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here. I did maybe at one point used to manage Jordan and friend of the show, Henry Rollo as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just getting on all my old successful staff members who
Oh my God,
have
that's so funny.
far exceeded me in their industry careers, and I'm still
Absolutely
working
not.
as a barista.
I feel like we should point out as well, manager, when you're talking about the arts industry, could be misconstrued. You're our manager
sorry.
when we were at a cafe.
Yes, I was a cafe manager. I have not managed any people, successfully in cafes either, to be honest with you, but not in the arts and entertainment industry.
We can't be managed. You've unfortunately had to look over me and Henry, who are disgusting.
Better than a lot of people, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, true.
And I can barely manage myself, so I don't think that role was particularly suited for me.
Oh, it doesn't suit anyone.
No.
It's a hellscape.
Well, that place is now closed as well after quite a few troubles.
Rest in peace.
If you do want to know any of that stuff, just DM Jordan, send them $5. They'll tell you everything. I'm not getting into this. I don't want sued. But, oh, God, moving on from that embarrassing little bit. I usually like to start this podcast with a little bit of a compliment.
Oh.
It has been said. I know, how uncomfortable, right?
I can't.
Oh,
But
beautiful.
yes,
I love
go,
this so
go.
much already. It has been said in the past that I have all these incredibly talented people on and then just get them to talk about the worst moments in their career, and it kind of doesn't put across the best representation of them. Mm-hmm. So I do like to try and start off now, firstly, by making everyone uncomfortable because nobody can accept compliments.
No.
Yeah, cool. And then it kind of puts everyone on the back foot and makes me feel like the better middle-aged white male podcaster.
Well, I've got no compliment for you.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast,
prepared.
Jordan. No, it's fine. I mean, there's so many things that I've done, but you can just list any of them. No, we're just not going with any of that then. No, beautiful. But I was going to start off by saying, would you like a triple threat, which is such a wanky term, and I hate using it, which is why I thought I'd use it just now. Mm-hmm. But disgustingly talented comedian, very good actor. I don't know why I said that like I was surprised. Very good actor. Really good singer. I went to go and see you in a couple of musicals.
Oh, yes.
Originals as well.
Oh, my God. Lest we forget.
I know. I enjoyed it. I love a musical. It doesn't matter how good it wasn't bad, but it doesn't matter how good or bad a musical is. I am sold as soon as someone starts singing to me.
100%. I'm also now enjoying musicals more if they're bad. I want to see, and I used to because I studied musical theatre at uni, and while I was there I was such a wanker and I was obsessed with really small indie stuff that it's just an old lady in the dark barely singing. And now I'm I want big bang booms. I want big chandelier fall down, big high kick jump spin. Yes. That's what I want.
And that's from an industry professional right there. All of those terms, big bang boom.
Big bang boom.
That's actually going to lead me on to the next part, but I must give you this compliment first. So I think out of all the things there I could compliment you on, I think what I'm going to go with is your work on Victoria's Big Build. I loved it. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Inspiring. I live in somewhere that is fully affected by that just now, and I cannot stop seeing you advertising it.
Yep.
And can you please tell me, when is it going to fucking end?
Well, I believe... Oh, my God. I can't believe the timing of this. This morning, I just got another rollover check.
What?
It said 3 more months. Sorry.
Oh. I am so fucking happy for you. This was not arranged as well. This was not prepared. I genuinely did not know that.
Which I didn't expect it because they rolled me over for another year, but then they rolled me over for 3 months for something else. I don't know. Point is, you're all getting buses because I'm the face of the bus replacements.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, everybody, there's always like me. I'm a giant and I'm looking over this train.
You're looking down on all the little people having to get public transport.
Yes. And it's always like a poster at a train station and people just send it to me all the time. And it's great because I know if I need to chase up about rollover payment.
Yeah, you have physical evidence of everyone snapshotting you.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's also so classic. It's like, wasn't a, like, well, like comparatively, the ad wasn't amazing pay, like to most other ads, but it's just like a nice little like mwah at the start of every year. Yeah, literally. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, like even this week I was like, God, that is really helpful actually.
I feel like that every single week.
I'm
just checking on ads from 5 years ago. I was like, have they just rolled this over for no reason?
Yes.
They haven't. But well, I mean, I say that one ad recently rolled over in America. I'm on a billboard in Times Square, baby.
Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah. And I'm unrecognizable in it as well, so it's even better.
That's how I feel about the big build one, is that it's like no one, unless you're looking, you can't tell it's me. And it's from like 5 years ago, and we've had a big 5 years. I've aged a fuckload since then, so it's like...
I think we've all rapidly, like we've aged dog years recently.
Yes.
I do that regardless because I'm Scottish, but like everyone else has now caught up with me. Don't laugh at that. Say no thank you. You look very young.
No, the Scottish people aren't weathered. No, you look great, but that's so funny that...
Jordan's winking just now, crossing her fingers.
I feel like Melbourne's the same though, because we just have like wind.
Yeah.
And that can't be good for sustaining moisture in the face.
No, it's not. It's just
funny.
The barren winterscapes as well.
Oh my fucking God.
But I'm sorry, I just got into complaining about the weather on a podcast, and I'm sure there's at least 2 more podcasts out there which do that. So I'm going to get back on track now. So we actually brought up something that I wanted to ask about in musicals.
Yeah.
Now, I know this isn't technically a performance on your behalf, but you went to go and see maybe one of the most interesting musicals ever created, and I did want to ask about it. Do you know what I'm going to ask about here?
I hope I do, but I want you to tell me.
We're both going to say it on the count of 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
9/11 the musical. Yes. Oh my God. Who did you have on the pod? Did you have Pete or?
I have no idea how I know this. I think I must have listened to an interview where you talked about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had anyone else on.
Oh my God. Okay.
But I was listening to it and I was like sweating and smiling. I looked like an absolute like psychopath. I was like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It was. It's amazing. So I was at Edinburgh Fringe last year just for a week, just to like suss it out, have a bit of fun. I was already going on a trip to Spain for my 30th with some friends, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just tag on Edinburgh. And I didn't do a show, but I did some spots. Yep. And I did a spot with my friend Pete Jones, who Australian comedian, is now in London, and Lewis Garnham. And we finished the show and I was like, do you guys want to grab a drink? I got a bit of time. And they're like, actually, we're going to go see the 9/11 musical. And I said, what?
Like that as a normal fucking thing to say.
And they were like, would you like to come? And I was like, does the Pope shit in the woods? Of course I'm going to be there. And so we went there, and it was like just for the audience, for the listener, this is not a funny show. Like, we were dying of laughter, but it was a sincere, like, earnest attempt at telling people's story who were in the building, and it was so poorly written. Like, it was bad acting, bad music. They were all flown over from America as well, and it was a cast of like 20. So I'm like, this is
20.
Thousands. It was so much money. We were on like scaffolding. At one point, like, they had this like what I thought was a static image at the back of the windows, and they're all like singing and dancing.
Just a JPEG of windows.
Literally. And there's this song where they're comparing New York and Boston, and all the Boston guys are like, we got hot dogs. I can't even remember. But it was like a janky kind of like da 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 da. And then the girls come on and do the reprise, which is about men, and there's 3 girls, and one of them was like, they're in the toilet for hours, and then another girl's like, they never ask you how your day is, and then the next person is like, and they never let me finish, like some sassy thing about not coming, and then the plane hits
in the middle of the song.
In the middle of the song, because they're supposed to like interrupt a moment. But it's not like they're interrupting people. They're interrupting like 3 women and be like, my husband shits all the time. And then you see the plane coming in, and it's not a static image.
Yep,
The clouds. You see this like AI plane flying in, and then it hit, and I had forgotten that was what the musical was. Like in the moment, like I was just sitting there being like, I'm in the 9/11 musical. I'm in the 9/11 musical. And then the plane hit and I was like, oh my God, that's what happens in this.
I mean, of course it is.
And it was so like, it was just so obviously disrespectful to everyone who lost, but it wasn't trying to be.
Yeah.
And that was like, and like everybody was laughing in the audience, but trying not to. So like the seating we were in was like high school scaffold, like what's it called? Like raked. Yeah, it was raked seating, and it was just shaking. It was just shaking, and there were people behind us who were there for the same reason.
Okay,
and that they were the ones who were like, it was like in a Scottish accent, this like young queer guy just being like, I forgot what happened, and we were all just like truly quivering.
Oh my God!
And that's like 3/4 of the way and then there's so much.
Wait,
to
that's
it.
not the end of the musical?
No, because they all die.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way,
obvious. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, like if you want to go and see the 9/11 musical at this year's Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, and I think the actual name is like Clear Blue Sky or something. It's so tacky.
Okay.
But there's like an older female character in it who is like, her whole part in the show is her just being like, oh, my arthritis and my gas. Like all she does is like say like, oh, my husband never wants to fuck me, and like it's just making these like.
That's not a comedy.
I know, but she's like, she's supposed to be the comedic character, but there's always like an older woman who's going like, bwah, bwah, bwah. Like that's the tone of her lines.
Okay.
And so she's supposed to be comedic relief in all of this. But then suddenly, after the plane hits and they were like, what are we going to do? She fucking jumps out the window. Her character is like, nothing to live for. I'm going to jump. And so she jumps, but it's a stage and there's nowhere to go. So she sort of jumps kind of on the spot and then goes behind the curtain to like hide. But then somebody else exits the curtain and you just see her trying to hide from the audience. Like she's shying away. It's so funny. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it, and I actually think it's one of my most favorite theater experiences.
See, I say this so much. I don't know if I sound like a right dick, but some of the worst theater shows have been my favorite.
It's amazing.
It's those ones which are like, and you can't intentionally make a bad show because then it's not great, and it's just kind of like, you can't make these shows going out to make it bad. But when you go out to try their fucking hardest and disrespect these poor victims, the podcast dog has broken back in again.
The podcast dog is back. We're still here. We're
Elsie,
alive.
it's okay. We're going to have to kick you out again. Such an early edit point already as well. 10 minutes in.
Oh, Elsie.
We're going to be back in 1 second.
I know.
All right.
She crashed in just like that plane in the musical.
Oh my God. Oh, what a good segue or bringing it back. You can tell someone's on radio. But I was saying that like these unintentionally horrible shows are some of my favorite. I mean, obviously make a good show, please.
Make a good show.
Maybe something with a little bit more tact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
But also like, God, it's amazing to know that these people exist in the world. I don't know. There's something about it where you're like,
I love it.
I hope they learned their lesson.
Do you think they did? How so like without doxing them, I was going to ask how many seats, like how full was it when you were there? Do you know if they were doing the entire Fringe run?
They weren't doing the whole run. They were only doing 2 weeks, and they
for 20 cast members from America. And for anyone that doesn't know, Edinburgh Fringe is notoriously a money pit. Like, unless you live there, and even then you can lose money.
Yeah.
But like flying over from overseas is so fucking expensive. There's never any accommodation there. Like, venue hire is so much.
Yeah.
You're out there literally selling yourself on the streets. And like, you're lucky if you get 10 people in sometimes.
They say it costs 10 grand to do Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And that's for like a single person show.
Yeah.
If you got 20 people.
Oh my God.
That is so much money.
And what was like wild was that, so the age range was like the accompanist was on stage. It wasn't an orchestra. It was just a guy on a keyboard. And he was on the stage. And sometimes he would like wink at the crowd. Like there were moments where they would reference that he exists. And I was like, is he in the, like we didn't really establish where he fits in the show, if he's part of it.
Is he part of 9/11, or is he an ethereal being, or just an accompanist?
Or just an accompanist. And then there was the lead guy. Well, there were so many characters in it, and they all had backstories, and all of their characters' backstories were played by different actors as well. So it wasn't like they didn't try to like artfully like be like, okay, so we're working with a budget. Maybe we can suspend disbelief and have a few characters play different characters.
Yeah, of course.
People do that all the time on a budget. They were like, no, we need to be as literal as possible. And so they had everybody's family members play. At one point they had like a kid. I'm pretty sure they had a full-grown man walk out on his knees and be like, Dada, are you going to work?
This isn't a comedy. It's so amazed.
Can't express to you how seriously they were taking it. And then the lead boss guy, who was just kind of like the nice guy who dies. They all do. But he...
Spoiler alert again, sorry.
Spoiler alert. He was he was older than the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast were like quite young. He was older, and so was the accompanist. And it turns out he wrote it. So he wrote himself into the lead. And like maybe it was a situation where it was like a last minute fill in. Like I could imagine somebody pulling out last minute. And the thing was, some of these people were like really talented. They had some chops on them. They were good. But the material and just the ego involved in being like, I'm the person to tell this story. Do you know what I think?
It's
that's what's so funny.
A story that needs told through musical.
Absolutely. Or if you are like, there's Come From Away is technically.
Well, that's true, actually.
But that's like telling a different story.
That's the humanized and the.
Yeah.
Come From Away is one of my favorite musicals.
Same.
I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
Not what that 9/11. Sorry, Clear Blue Sky, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think
we'll
it's
get
called
the
that.
name correct. I'll link any of their upcoming show in the show notes as well if you don't want to find them.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like Come From Away is this beautiful telling of like a story all the way up in Canada of all these planes that were grounded during 9/11 and the fear that went with it and all of this community banding together, and it's sad and it's happy and it's like fucking beautiful story. It's not people pretending to be a child or pretending to jump out the tower. The Twin Towers.
Or being like in the building.
Yeah.
Like no one would think to do it. People don't want to see a musical about that. I don't want it, but I could see a musical about people being trapped in Newfoundland because they're trying to figure out how to like it's so funny, and there's no, like you were saying, there's absolutely no tact in it. It's just like
that is.
And there was so many cliches.
Truly amazing. And it's, again, of that, it just like has this not passed by anyone that's like, maybe don't do this.
Yeah.
Just give the money to the victims' families.
Please, for the love of God. Could you imagine if they bought like puffers for everyone who like inhaled too much dust on that day? Instead, they flew
just
to Edinburgh.
Anything,
And all the characters' like storylines when they were like gonna die or whatever, they were like, oh, this is I shouldn't have worked so hard.
Yeah.
Or like I should have asked that girl out. Like it was so kind of lame.
I was one day away from retirement.
Yeah. And I was like, I just really don't think, like, this is kind of grim, but I was like, I don't think people in those moments were like banded together and reflecting. I think they were fucking scared.
Oh, terrified and no idea what was going on. Like,
exactly.
The people in the show have come into it knowing what 9/11 is.
Yeah.
But the people on the day would have no fucking clue, right?
No.
Like, it'd be terror and confusion. This has gone fucking dark as well for a comedy podcast. But
that's why it was so funny, is because it was like the person who's made this is so devoid, like has separated themselves so much from normal human emotion.
And I mean...
and inserted himself into it.
I don't know this person. I don't know this company. It sounds like maybe a vanity project.
100%.
Which is not the subject matter that you want for a vanity project. All of this is genuinely so, like, I don't know, perplexing, astounding. I'm sweating currently. I don't know what to think.
It is just like, it gives like, some rich, and you get that sometimes in Australia too, where it's like a rich person liked this show. And they gave them money.
I almost did a show once for this one rich guy who is like, he wrote...
What?
I'll tell the story. I won't mention names.
Yeah.
This one guy, he wrote a play to put his girlfriend in. Mm-hmm. This gentleman was in his 50s. Partner, 19 or early 20s.
Oh, fucking hell.
His partner was an influencer. Mm-hmm. They had a relatively popular meme page on Instagram, about 40,000 followers.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
pretty good.
shitting against it, but this play that this person had written was like an avenue for them to get into acting. And I knew this guy kind of because he was wanting me to do something else for him, and I was like, I don't really know him that well, but he comes from a bit of money. And he was like, yeah, it was really good pay. It was actually during it was either Comedy Festival or the Fringe Festival like 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And then he started putting all this advertising out with my name attached to it, and I was like, I haven't read a script. I have not said yes to this. And he called me up one day and he's like, yeah, we'll probably just do a couple of rehearsals beforehand. And I was like, what do you mean a couple of rehearsals? He's like, yeah, just run through it once or twice. I was like, it's a play.
What?
This is like a 45-minute play. You need to like have months. And he's like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, it was really good money as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't like profit share. It was full outright just pay.
Oh my God.
Which is unheard of in a lot of Fringe shows, I'll be honest with you.
Completely.
And it was
completely unheard of.
I'll say the name of the show. I'm going to see in the edit if I keep this in. It was called A Meme Stole My Girlfriend.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. Did you end up doing it?
No!
Yeah.
I read like 5 pages of the script and I was like, I cannot. And all like, because sometimes when you're in something and you're like, I'm purely just doing this for the money or because I get to go to a festival or something like that.
Yeah.
But then your friends might come and see it because they want to support you. And I'm like, I can't in all good conscience have people know me and come and see this.
Oh, what's that thing that they say that's like, it's got to be 2 out of 3. It's got to be really good material, really good team, really good money.
Yep.
And it sounds like it was 1.
1 out of 3, yes. And I don't even think the money was good enough to put up with everything there as well. And
no.
yeah. I did kind of want to go and see it, but I was too scared to.
Oh my God. I know. Yeah. It's the feeling is like, it's so strange when you're like, I just don't. And I feel like that happens a lot when you're younger and you just kind of cop it. But then when you catch yourself caught in something.
Yep.
Like now, and you're like, I should have just said no to this. I don't know why I was just like,
it's so difficult
agreeing.
Sometimes, and especially because like, fuck man, the arts pays nothing in
Yeah.
Australia. So you're just like, somebody just puts some money in front of you, like a few dollars, just dangling it, and you're like, I'll kind of do anything, I suppose.
It's so sad because you're like, God, imagine if that guy gave money to like an actually good playwright.
Well,
and you could be in that show. It's like, you'd probably showcase your girlfriend better in a good show.
But those narcissists,
they don't see.
Yeah, they just want to
God.
be the part of it as well. And look, anyway.
So funny.
We have come here today to shame and embarrass you, Jordan, and not me, and not
you.
9/11 the musical. Although I am so fucking happy to hear that story
Oh my
firsthand.
God, I'll tell it again and again.
Oh,
I hope
please.
I'm going back to Edinburgh this year.
Are you?
Sinking money, yeah. And I am hoping that they have a return season. I don't think they will.
Did they have a program? Did you get?
They
to
did.
Find
I
any
do
of the
have a
people?
program. I'll take a photo and I'll send it to you.
Please.
It has the blurb. It also has the song list. And I remember when we sat down and the program was there, I saw on the song list about midway or 3/4 of the way through the show, there was a song called What Just Happened. And I went, that's when it hits, I reckon. Like all the other song names are kind of ambiguous or whatever, but What Just Happened, I reckon I know what happened.
I reckon they'd know, like...
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so funny. Anyway, we can't keep talking about it. We cannot.
We can't, sorry.
But I would if I could.
I know. Well, I'm going to make a separate podcast purely just on 9/11 the musical.
I would love to just find out more. That would actually be a fun podcast idea to try
like
and
a little, you're the ABC, a little ABC mini-series, much like friend of the show, Alexi Toliopoulos and Cameron James, like a little investigative thing, like where are they now? How did this come about?
How did this happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to make that happen now.
Okay, now that I've spoken out, but will these people be okay with me being like, so I saw the show and I was blown away by how shit it was. But then maybe they're in positions like you and I have been in where it's like, I know. I want to talk about it.
A lot of the cast were like, look, I got paid to come to Edinburgh Fringe. It's been such a dream. I got to spend 2 weeks in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh Fringe, for better or worse, is a fucking great time to hang out there.
It's so fun.
Yeah, you'll lose your mind and gain 15 kilograms.
Or lose a half your weight as
true.
well. It's you don't come out the same.
No, you don't. That Scotland will do that to a person, regardless of the time of year. But yeah, like I get that as well.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard where to find to draw
It's
your
hard.
line sometimes.
Oy, oy, oy.
But yes, sorry, we're going to move on to some of Jordan's stories now.
My story.
So I usually like to ask the guests if they've come with any prepared stories, if they have any way that they particularly want to tell them, if they're like chronologically, or if you have any groupings of stories. I always have my go-tos as well with certain people. I will ask maybe if we can leave the most salacious story till the end, so all these beautiful perverts keep listening all the way till the end.
True.
But my go-to, since you're such a multi-hyphen,
I love that you said I'm a triple threat and included comedy in there because we both know I can't dance.
like, dancing isn't for everyone.
No, it really isn't.
And I'd rather be funny than be a good dancer. That's not true. That is a fucking lie. I am sorry to anyone that I heard say that.
I would love to be a dancer.
I would love to dance as well, right?
Oh my God, imagine.
Being funny is overrated. All you have to be is attractive and a good dancer.
I'm only funny because I can't dance.
Yes, I'm neither. I'm fucked. I'm a stuntman now, so I get people beating me up for a living.
I feel like doing stunt work is kind of the happy medium between dancing and comedy.
It is a little bit, to be honest with you, yeah. Especially when you get some pratfalls in.
Oh my God,
you like that,
100%.
did you? Okay then, I'll keep doing this until you ask me to stop. So my go-to questions usually are as well with the acting. I always have to ask about TV commercial auditions.
Yes.
Because they're the bane of our existence, but also on the inverse, what we make most of our money from, unfortunately.
Literally.
I always have to ask, because it's always the auditions. It's never usually the TV commercials themselves, but it's the auditions when you're standing in a blue room and they're like, pretend that you're fighting a mythical dragon and now you're falling down a pit and there's nothing else in the room. It's just you. And you're like, I'm trying to be on, I'm trying to be funny, and I'm trying to be like cool and sexy and anything that's not me. And then you're just like, you leave and you're like, I'm a fucking dickhead.
Literally. I remember once, and this was a self-tape, and I think it was in lockdown as well, but I had to do an audition for an ad where they're like, you're driving in your car and your partner says something that annoys you. And no words, by the way.
Yep, of course.
So you're acting out. Your partner says something that annoys you, but you can't help but be charmed by him. So you end up laughing. And then you come to a sudden halt and a leprechaun is in front of you and your partner would like the leprechaun to come into the car and you don't want the leprechaun to come into the car. But then you let the leprechaun come into the car and you are laughing and you're having a good time. And then you see a rainbow with a pot of gold. And the leprechaun leads you that way.
What?
It was like all in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I had to act that out, literally just sitting there. It's impossible for a podcast, but imagine me just going,
So you didn't have any dialogue as well?
No dialogue.
No. And with TV commercial auditions, if you don't get dialogue, you're not allowed to talk because they have to pay you more, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's just all like what Jordan did there. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooga.
I didn't get it, shockingly enough.
How dare they?
How dare they? Another one I did in person was like, okay, so duck. So your shed is stuck, so you duck underneath, but then a genie appears, and so you turn around, and there's a genie, and he helps you with the thing, and then this again, I think I had like one line where I was just like, "Oh, Amy," or whatever it was, but it was just like all this action, and then I did it, and I could tell that the casting director was like somewhat disappointed in me, but I was just like, I think I can't do this anymore. Like,
it's funny, isn't it? Because you leave some of those the lowest you'll ever feel. And I've done big auditions which I've fucked up for TV shows and films and stuff, and I'm like, that's bad. Like, but I got in, that's cool. And then you go in sometimes, and I'm not saying anything, like, this is just an example. You go in for a Toyota commercial, and then you act like the biggest fucking dickhead, and you try and do everything 20 seconds, or it's 15 seconds or 30 seconds. Yeah. And then you leave and you're like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Literally.
Yeah.
And it is just like, and it's such an exorbitant amount of money. I did an ad for an audition that was an audition for an ad that was the most amount of money I've ever seen for an ad ever.
Right.
I think it was like 150 grand.
What?
Yeah, over 2 years. So 75 grand for the first year, 75 for the next.
That's so much
It was
money.
massive. I didn't get it. But I was also like, there were like truly like 3 lines.
Yeah, right.
For this much like money. And I was just like, and my partner was helping me film it. And I was like, I think we should just do it again. I was like, we'll do another one for luck. It was really easy. I added my own flair to it, but I was like, they're just going to look at me. Like, especially with ads, you're like,
that's it.
It's so based on looks.
It's a headshot.
Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like,
no.
I did one this morning as well. God, there's a lot of ads coming out at the moment, but I just
There are.
it's crazy. But I did one this morning, and again, it was like improv your lines and just like have fun. And I'm like, okay. But then sometimes I heard,
Yeah.
apparently they will steal those lines sometimes from auditions.
That's what I'm genuinely worried about as well.
Fuck that.
I have had that on. I'm worried about saying this now. On a certain thing once.
Yeah.
Where I improved some lines.
Yeah.
Didn't get the role, but I was on set anyway.
Yeah.
And the actor that got the role was on set. And the director's like, what were those lines? What were those lines? And then gave it to the actor. And I was like,
What?
this doesn't feel all right. And I would like some money.
Yeah.
I was too fresh or green at the time working in that specific side. Sorry, I'm dancing around this quite a lot.
No.
That specific side of the industry and
Yeah,
that I was
yeah,
working
yeah.
in. And I was just like, okay, thanks for having me here.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Especially if it was an ad. Like if it's a TV show or something, I would maybe see, I'd be like, oh, I'd try to be more malleable. But
Yeah.
if it were an ad, I think 5 years ago I would have been too nervous to say
Yeah.
anything. And now I'd be like, if I get a writer's credit, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'd be like, you have to pay me as a writer and
Yeah.
you can use that line. Especially if like it's a 20-second ad or something. It's like, this is 80% of the ad, this line.
Also, that's the writer's job.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to improv. I don't want to do your work for you.
100%. Yeah, that
Yes.
was it. Anyway, the ad auditions suck.
Yep.
And I also found I used to put in so much, classic when I was younger, I put in
Yep.
so much effort
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
never booked any ads. I barely
Yep.
booked anything. And then the second I stopped putting in effort in how I look,
Yeah.
like I would, I'd be clean. I'm not looking like I was
Just trying to
dragged through the street by
disheveled.
donkeys. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I used to try and look so pristine and now I'm like,
me
I'm
too.
just gonna like look like myself, feel comfortable.
I'd always put so much effort into like, maybe I'll wear this shirt. And
Yes.
I'd be like, I'm turning up whatever the fuck I'm wearing.
Literally.
I'm gonna fuck around. I don't care.
I'm
But
barely.
that's what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
It's
you're more
so
appealing
upsetting.
to them that
Yeah.
way as well, which is such a strange thing too.
I know.
I can tell when you want it.
I know. But we all want it. I want that money.
I want money.
Just give me money.
Are you kidding?
Toyota, if you're listening, just give me
Give me
money.
the money.
So yeah, any like TV commercial casting directors or even I don't know people that work in PR, just reach out to us.
Yeah.
Our DMs are open.
We're open.
Yeah, I will cut you a good deal.
I probably shouldn't say I'm so keen to do ads when I work for the ABC, but
You're not on the ABC. Don't worry, this is far from the ABC. Couple of less listeners
also
and a couple of
whatever.
less people that write in with complaints as well, I
that's
presume.
true.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's nice. Yet to have any complaints, I think.
Until now.
And that is not an open invitation. Please.
If you don't like this podcast, turn it off
Yeah.
and go look yourself in the mirror.
Yes, exactly. Or keep it rolling and look at yourself in the mirror. It doesn't really matter. Just have a good think
Just
about
have a
yourself.
look.
As a person, please have a think about yourself. But yes, the TV commercial auditions are always one. But then
Yeah.
with comedy world as well,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of comedians on, and the bomb sounds like a par for the course. Like it's whether or not it's particularly bad or not, like it's kind of to be expected.
Yeah.
But it's the private gigs. The oh my god, the podcast dog is back
The
once again.
podcast dog, good morning. I'm not going to pet you because you are too
Come on,
cute.
Elsie. You want to stay out?
She's
You wanna stay out
so
for once?
cute.
I know. She just does not respect broadcasting. She does not respect the
She
sanctity
doesn't
of
respect
podcasts.
you, Seb.
Well, no one does. I'm going to keep this all in the podcast just now, but Jordan was one of the first people I reached out to with this show idea, like one of my very early reach out. This will be episode 65 now, I reckon, and that's how long it took for Jordan to reply to me.
I don't know. I'm bad at messaging. I probably saw that. And I don't know, and would have been like, I'm gonna. And then I went to because you were in the same building as my work, and I was like,
I
oh my god,
was.
Seb, go!
Yes.
And then I was like, what the fuck? I'm so sorry.
Oh my god, he reached out to me with something deeply personal. So I'll just ignore that part.
I
Whoopsie.
didn't need to. You wouldn't be the first. I'm notoriously bad at getting back to people or just looking at. I think because I post on my stories a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty online. Just because of work and stuff
Oh,
like
for
that,
sure.
people assume that I'm good at messaging, but I'm not. There
Yeah.
is there's some like disconnect between the DMs and the actual like online content, which is unhealthy. And then we end up in this position where,
Yeah.
did you know, I was looking at you posting all these things like, why the fuck hasn't Seb asked me?
How fucking dare you, Jordan?
Like, Seb's never asked me to do this because did Henry do it with you?
He did,
He did. I think I saw Henry's and I was like, get fucked.
I'm way more famous than Henry.
Come on.
He's only riff-raff.
Yeah, well,
I have my own radio show.
He is riff-raff.
Yes.
You are so funny.
Okay, well, the podcast dog has started knocking over the microphone again, so we're going to have to take another break to get rid of said podcast dog. We'll be right back again. Hello. Now, before we get into our next story, I've got to tell you the main reason why I'm able to fumble through my awkward and embarrassing day-to-day occasions. Coffee. Now, fortunately for myself and all of the listeners, we have paired with one of Melbourne's best coffee companies, Coffee on Q, a coffee worth talking about. Get ready to caffeinate yourself through your next awkward moment with Coffee on Q's signature Elevate blend. Crafted in-house with precision, each sip delivers delightful flavour notes of strawberry, chocolate and marmalade. And here's the deal you won't want to miss. Coffee on Q is offering an exclusive discount to all our listeners. Simply use the code WBFT15 at checkout to enjoy an incredible 15% off all coffee purchases. That's right, WBFT15 is a key to savings, making sure you're properly awake to remember your next big embarrassing moment. Now, this code is valid for all coffee products, so make sure you stock up on your favourites. And the best part? You can use the code WBFT15 as many times as you like. So don't miss out on the opportunity to enjoy the finest coffee Melbourne has to offer. Simply visit Coffee on Q, and that's QCUE.com.au, and enter the discount code WBFT15 at checkout to unlock 15% off your next coffee order. That's WBFT15 at coffeeonq.com.au. Coffee on Q, where awkward moments pair perfectly with your daily cup.
Very funny. Yeah, the bomb sucks. Comedy bombs suck, but also you get used to them. I used to like really punish myself for a bomb, but then now I'm like, yeah, well, you are doing a set to 3 people in a bar at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like,
it is
chill.
what it is.
Yeah. It's worse when the worst is when everybody else is doing well and you tank it. And then that's like,
But it's the private gigs. Have you been booked out from any privates before? Or in the industry, they like to call them, oh my God, what do they like to call them? Corporates, yes. I don't know why I always forget that word.
Because it's so far away from anything we've ever done.
Nobody's hiring me for a corporate as well.
Me.
But the corporate gigs I'm always such a fan of hearing about. Because they pay a lot of money and are always, not always, a lot of the time pretty shit.
I did do a couple of Zoom ones in lockdown.
How the fuck was that?
It was okay. I think the reason I get booked for corporate gigs is because my management have some really big names in comedy on their books, and people will probably ask for them.
Okay.
And then they'll send them being like, this is what the fee is to have this person on. And then they'll be like, oh, we were thinking closer to this. And that's when they're like, try Jordan Barr.
Yeah.
So
there we go. You're not having Will Anderson, but you'll have Jordan Barr.
Yeah, literally. And then the Zoom gigs were fine because they were all on mute. Like, it was weird.
Okay.
But I was like, I can just treat this like a monologue. Like, I'm just going to like have a laugh.
That's true.
Do it myself. And then, but the worst corporate gig for a while, and actually I don't get booked for corporates that much. I probably should try to work on my material so that it's suitable. But I'm not a corporate gig.
No, we've had a few comedians on as well, and they're like, talking about my vagina is probably not what a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is you, sorry, but
no, but literally, or just like being like, guests. You know, like, or like dark comedy. Yeah. Just like anything that's like remotely like off kilter. People they're either in corporate settings. It's the same as with like older crowds. I either crush with older crowds because they're just like loosey-goosey and they're wine mums and stuff, or I don't do well at all. And I did do, there's one story, actually it was me and another comic. I won't dox their name because that's disrespectful. But
message Jordan after you listen to this and find out who it was.
They're a very funny comedian. I'm not even going to give their gender away.
Okay.
And there was a period of time where I was just getting booked for like ladies' lunches so like local footy clubs will have ladies' lunches as like a big fundraiser.
Yeah.
And I did a few of those, and it was like a couple of them were chill. One of them was like so insanely loud, you could not be heard. Like because they were all on the piss, and they'd booked a few, like part of the show was that you book people, but the organizer was stressed and she was like, the ladies don't want to listen and they're already getting mad at me saying they just wanted to have a piss up and blah, blah, blah. But to be fair, like before I came on as the comic, there were like 3 people on there just trying to sell like wellness products. Like it was all just like, and I was like, and ladies, I lost weight doing this. Literally.
Oh, really?
Fully that. So so the vibe was off from the get-go. And then I came on. It's not great. And I just could not. I tried to get there. It just, I in that scenario, I'm like, I'm not going to try to get their attention. I haven't been hired as an MC. I've been hired as a comic to just come on and do some gear, and just these ladies are fucked, and I'm not going to
run your material.
Yeah. Anyway, so I did it, and that was fine. And then there was another one that was like a last minute thing where a big comedian had dropped out.
Okay, name and shame them. Why did they drop out? How dare they?
Well, they got COVID. It was Judith Lucy.
Okay.
Who is one of the biggest comedians in Australia.
I mean, I was like, obviously, you're very funny, of course, but Judith Lucy has been around
is a legend.
A long time and is very popular.
And people who book Judith Lucy are booking Judith Lucy.
Yes,
you know what I mean. They're looking forward to having Judith in town, and I would too. And
absolutely.
I and this other comedian was sort of offered as like a 2-for-1 to apologize for.
Oh no,
the fact that Judith couldn't do it. And she was sick.
Yeah, no.
And we did this gig.
Yeah.
And it was at a football club. The siren went off for the game to start. Like there was a game playing
during a game as well.
Yeah, there's a game playing at the same time.
What?
And this wasn't unique to that ladies' lunch. I've discovered over the years. Happens at every ladies' lunch. There's actually a game happening. So they do it during the games.
I don't have a background in AFL or sports at all, to be honest. I just presumed it would have been some point where like everyone was around and it was just kind of like the club room hired out.
Yeah,
more so,
I thought so too.
During footy season,
literally during the football season.
Yeah.
And then like guys were coming in to like watch the game from inside. There was a bit of hullabaloo. It was also like weirdly like, and people were eating their lunch. It was like all the elements that go against you in comedy anyway.
Yeah.
Plus my material. So the other comedian did quite well.
Okay.
She picked on the booker and it crushed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So because he was a dude and he was in the bar, and she asked him a question that was sort of, what did she ask him? She was like, do you know how many tampons a lady uses in her lifetime, to this guy? And he was like, went red in the face. Everybody was laughing. Anyway, it was a really great move from this comic. And then I went up and did some gear, and like it was going okay at the start, and then it just like dropped off and I lost them and it was gone, and it was a big bomb. And me and the other comic, we just got the fuck out of there. We were like, as soon as we were done, but we had to walk past everyone. They also made us like sit and eat lunch with the ladies before. It was so
like
strange.
A meet and greet?
I don't even know. Like they were like, do you want some food? And we're like they asked us to get there like when the lunch started.
Okay.
But we went on for like another hour afterwards.
Oh.
There was so many elements to this that like it was one of my first booked like corporate gigs, corporate in quotation marks, footy club, that I would be like, no, I'm not. Now you have to do that because I have to be like, yeah. Even the material I'd done, I mean, I wasn't that much of a seasoned comic, so I didn't have enough material to like go back to and like sort of go through the flip book and be like, what's suitable.
Okay, this isn't working, let's try this instead.
Yeah.
Desperately looking for the booker and like, I'm going to ask him about tampons again. Oh, fuck.
Literally dying. And so we left and went home, and that I was like, think of the money.
Yes.
But then the guy that we upset and then also bombed in front of wanted a refund.
What?
Well, he didn't want to pay. They paid the deposit and he didn't want to pay the rest of it because he didn't like our comedy. He said we weren't funny.
That's it. Like, what?
Yeah. Did not want to pay us.
I mean, firstly, you can't have that as like something that you do because everybody would be like, no, I didn't like that. I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Every single fucking time you book someone. Like, that is not how their business works.
No, I did the job.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, there's so much material of me online.
Yeah.
You can see what I do and decide
is.
whether or not. And that's something that I like comfort myself with as well for any gigs that I book, especially if I'm not doing new, if I'm going to do like my gold set or just my like standard 10 or whatever, I get nervous and I'm like, they might not like me. They might regret booking me because of the style of comedy that I do, blah, blah, blah. Now I just remind myself, I'm like, no, that's their fault.
Yes.
If they booked me without like with weeks in advance or like even like a day or so in advance, like what happened with this one. I'm like, no, you could have looked. You should have done your homework.
It takes 10 seconds to Google someone. And it's not like you're hard to find on the internet as well. Like
I'm out there.
Any comedian has so many fucking clips up.
Yeah. Oh.
All you have to do, you got a phone in your fucking pocket. Watch it whilst you're on the toilet. Like, it's insane. I mean, just do that anyway.
Truly.
But, yeah, like, that is...
It was so funny. I mean, like, the thing was, it was such a bad time, and I just got bad vibes from the get-go, and I was like, this is that, and I was like, we need to get the fuck out of here. And I just was not surprised when I got the call, because someone was like, how did it go? And I was like, yeah, good. Like, I was like, look, it wasn't great, but I don't think it was set up, blah, blah, blah. And then the person who organized it was like, yeah, because they don't want to pay you.
I also like how that person called you and be like, I just, it's softly running this past you. Are you okay for doing that for free?
Well, they ended up getting money out of him, which is great.
As they should.
I don't think it ended up being the full fee, because this person who organized it was like, he is being so difficult, and he's like, it was I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I was like, I can't be fucked having a back and forth about this anymore, and I would love to rid the memory of this moment. But I was also like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, and it was like a couple years ago. I'm like, you're gonna like deny a couple of like young comics, and they had their budget for it. Like, they had put it aside,
and you did your job.
I did it. You just didn't like my job.
I mean, that's fine. You're not gonna.
That's fine.
Like, it happens. Doesn't matter.
It's so
nobody
funny.
would have been paying attention anyway.
I know.
But why? What a
my God.
dick.
I'll never forget Dream. It was so fun. Like, you have to laugh. Like, it is a funny
because otherwise you just break down and then you retrain into a different line of work.
I love it. And I just am also like thinking about all the times that I've like I got such a bad eye infection getting my eyelashes tinted.
Wow, what?
I got, oh my God, it was so bad. This was in like 2022. I got them tinted before I was going to Sydney, because I was like, I think I'm wearing too much mascara and I think it's bad for my lashes. Lol. And so I got them, the irony. I got them tinted. The girl put tint on and was like, let me know if it stings or anything. And it did sting.
Okay.
But she told me that she had a really tough weekend, so I didn't want to tell. I do
exactly the same. I'd be too polite. My eyes would be on fire and be like, no, I think this is fine.
It fully was that. And I was also like, this is just like part of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I've been like, I've had a slight sting before. Anyway, cut to like 2 days later, the most bloodshot fucked eyes, pus.
Wow.
I was like weeping
Both
pus
of them
out
as
of
well.
them. Yeah, because the infection spread. And then I did the Sydney Comedy Festival with sunglasses on. I should have just cancelled the run, but I was too green and too
Andrew
scared.
Dice playing it up there.
Yeah. And then oh my God, it was so funny. And then it felt like I had sand in my eyes. And I went through this whole process. They did all these tests, and it came back as I probably just had a chemical burn.
In your eyes?
Yeah, because they tested me for like gonorrhea. In the eyes.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, I'd say I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
I found out they were like gonorrhea of the eyes could happen, all this other stuff. A viral infection, bacterial infection. None of those tests came back as positive. So it was just like this mystery fuck around with the eyes.
Oh my God.
And the whole time I was like, I'm just never going to ask for a refund from this girl. Like, I'm never going to even tell her that this happened. Like, I can't be bothered with the slight confrontation about it all. And then also
you make them feel bad as well. And
let alone, and then I like compare it to that fucking guy.
Yeah.
It was like, no.
He's calling up after you, like, you didn't blind anyone. No.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
These people all just passed out from,
I
don't know. No, I was going to say boredom. That sounds so rude.
No, they might have been. It was a pretty bad bomb.
Yeah.
But
look, it happens.
I feel like I've had worse since then. I can't even
remember.
Also,
they're probably just fucking sitting around chatting to each other anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens.
And they just don't want to listen to
they don't give a
us
shit.
talk. And it's also like, I don't have... I'm like, this material isn't like great for like the daytime. I could see everybody's faces.
Daytime gigs don't seem the most fun, I'll be honest.
Oh my God. It's
Being
awful.
able to see the crowd is horrible.
Oh, horrific.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some comics who really love being able to see the crowd.
Really?
Like, I've been in a few audiences even this year where it's like, they'll keep the house lights on.
Yeah, right. I feel too exposed in the audience if it's like that.
No,
they're like, bring up the house lights. I'm like, no, I'm the little gremlin boy here.
Yeah.
I just want to sit here and laugh.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I can't believe that guy for a start.
So funny though.
Also, that is I don't think I've had anyone on here that's had a good corporate, again, quotation marks, gig at a football club. It is what it is. They just pay quite well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
If they pay.
Well, so far, you're the first one that I've had anyone refuse
but I did get
to
it.
pay.
I got it back, and that's all that matters. But it was very typical. I was like, when I think about this guy, I can't remember his name, but I kept saying his name, just being like, typical fucking John or whatever. I can't remember. Because I just knew straight away. I was like, this guy's going to be trouble for us.
It's because your fellow comedian shamed him.
I 100% think so. I think it would have been fine if I didn't make jokes about men.
Yep.
Because I did. And if the other comedian hadn't made him look stupid in front of everyone.
But also, you're like, why are you embarrassed by tampons? You're an adult man.
People are fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough.
You know, but it's like, I got you there.
Yeah.
But it is so true, though. It's like, why are you worried about tampons, you big freak?
You organized the ladies'
more
lunch.
Of a freak. Yeah. You should be laughing.
If you're that embarrassed by them, you're like, well, now I'm suspicious of something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, if you're listening, that weird man, do better.
He's probably obsessed with us. He probably follows up on us all the time.
I bet he has those fake accounts that sometimes follow you. Like, this is definitely a bot. He's one of those.
He's one of those
accounts. Yeah.
Oh my God, I do. I get a lot of female comics are talking about how they get people sliding into their DMs with gross stuff or whatever, and I'm like, it's usually weird guys, and I was like, mine's always just bot girls being like. If you want to see my ass, click this link. And I'm like, I'm not going to click
clicking the links then, Jordan.
I want to see it. No, but
we all do, but we know when it's real and when it's not. They have to have more than 20 followers.
It is very funny.
But it is.
Creeps.
Do you ever get anyone? Because you're low-key famous now as well. You're
not at all.
You're proper famous. You're on national radio, Jordan. I don't know if you know this.
I am.
You're low-key famous.
I'm on national radio, but
do you get people reaching out to you a lot now?
No.
That you then ignore for a year and then reach out to them when they're in your workplace?
No, I would reply to fans.
Oh. Fuck. Jordan's got me. I hate their work. Oh, shit.
I'm just bad. No, I don't get too much. Sometimes people respond to stories and stuff like that.
Okay.
I do. It does make ticket sales a little easier because people I don't think people if they see your name, they're not like, oh my God, that's that comedian I definitely know and love their work of. They're just more like, oh, that's a name I've heard in the media, so therefore hopefully it's trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not going to do any research again.
Exactly.
But I recognize this person. I don't know from where exactly, but I recognize them.
But it's funny. I have my day job. I'm finishing very soon, but I'll just say I worked at the zoo in Melbourne.
Oh my God, we've had so many alumni of this podcast that work at the zoo as well.
It's a great place for a day job.
And I can't remember who has talked about it and who hasn't. I think Annie Lumsden has.
Yeah.
So,
we were in the same team.
Fuck yeah. Oh, God. We'll go and check out the fucking zoo if you want some free comedy.
But it is totally social media versus reality in terms of I was working at the zoo one day and I saw a girl who went to my high school with her kids there and she was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And I was like, I work here. And she was like, aren't you she was like, I don't think she meant to say it like this. I think she was just really tired. She has very young kids and she was just like, I thought you were living a glamorous life. I'm traveling all over the world. And I was like, no, bitch. I work in entertainment in Australia.
Picking up meerkat shit.
Literally. Well, actually, I don't have to do that.
Oh, do you know? Okay.
We can talk. I talk about the meerkat shit a lot, though.
Oh, do you?
But the poor keepers, they have to deal with so much shit. That's 90% of their job some days.
What animals really do, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, what the fuck else are they doing?
Well, nothing.
Exactly.
They're just shitting.
There's nothing, not nothing worse, but getting recognised that your quote-unquote day job is humiliating sometimes.
It can be, but it's also just I don't know. It's funny because it's also there's I have to do this.
My favorite thing, I got recognized once by my pharmacist
whilst
I was buying something, and I was like, oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Well, it was huge if I wasn't buying anti-diarrhea medication.
Yeah.
They're like, you're on that ad just now, aren't you? And I was like, oh, yeah, just the Imodium, please. So yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, everyone gets it. All right, pharmacist, back off.
Come on.
Yeah, and this ad didn't pay me very much as well. It was fucking everywhere, but it didn't pay very much. So.
That's like the big build one for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the most rollover I've ever had from an ad.
Yeah.
And it's fuck all money.
I know, right? It's so upsetting. Pay
But
us
I'll
more,
take it, and I'm
please.
so grateful, and please roll over again.
Victoria Government, if you are listening, please reach out to Jordan.
They are listening.
They are. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, 5-star review. Sorry, yeah. So I've taken up so much time about asking you about things that maybe you didn't come in prepared with. Some of these prepared stories. Is there any particular way you want to tell them, or if you got any ones that you'd like to start off with?
I'll tell them they're not like. I think it's good that we spoke at length about other stuff because these are quite short stories.
No, that's okay. I will drag them out far too long. Don't worry.
Great. So I mentioned earlier that I can't dance. Can never been able to. I've been one of my teachers at uni. We danced every day for 3 years, and she turned to me at the end of 30 and was like, you've come so far having started from scratch when you're 18. And I was like, Natalia, I've been dancing since I was 3. And she was like, what?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I've been dancing since I was 3. And she was like, I can't believe that.
Is that when everyone's like, I've been a performer since I was young? And they're like, yeah, I used to dance in front of mum and dad.
But I was like,
I've been doing professional dancing classes.
Classes.
Oh, sorry, classes.
Literally, I've been doing classes for so long, and I just don't have the coordination for it. I can't do it. I'm so funny to look at when I'm dancing. But I
don't know. I saw you in Elevate the Musical. You're a pretty good dancer in that.
It was
you
about
had 4 meters squared space on the stage.
It was a musical about being stuck in a lift.
That 4 meters squared, you filled that.
That's true. We just had to shuffle around each other.
You did.
We really filled it. It was funny. Like in uni, Henry can't dance either. He does really well in Henry Rollo and I went to uni together. That's how we're friends. And he does really well in Rocky Horror. I was so impressed. I was like, oh my God, Henry learned the steps. This is huge.
Congratulations, Henry. You're doing your job.
You did it. I would consistently get cast as old ladies and pregnant women in shows. And at one point we were doing a show and everybody was up and dancing, and it wasn't until like the second or third night that I was like sitting there like tapping my toes because I had a huge pregnant belly on me.
Oh, yep.
And then I look over at Henry, who's on the opposite side of the stage with a walking stick because he's playing someone who's injured in the war. And we're both just like nodding at each other. And we were both like, oh, this feels premeditated. It's like, it feels like they didn't want us dancing.
An accident?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So a lot of my like uni days is like me lamenting that I can't dance and also giving up. And then I auditioned for a lot of musicals. A lot of people are like, especially with comedy, and I haven't really sung in front of people for a long time, but recently like there's been some random shows and stuff at the comedy festival. There's one coming up again. It's called Comedians Audition for Musicals.
Oh yeah, I really want to see that. That sounds great.
It's really fun. It's a fun night, but I get up and I'll sing proper, which is like, and it's like the one time of year that I actually do it. And people are shocked that I can sing, but I will say I've watched the videos back. I think everyone's just a bit drunk and their expectations are low. Because I was like...
Well, also, I don't think anybody expects comedians to be able to sing as well, right? They expect them to go up and be like... Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And especially because I don't do musical comedy. I tried for a bit, but I was like, it doesn't come naturally.
Just say it's below you.
It's below me. Yeah, I think they're scum.
Jordan's just sitting on a stool on stage, like smoking a cigarette.
And real Mark Maron vibes. But I was like, because the first time I did it, everyone was being so complimentary. I was like, am I fucking incredible?
I was wasting my time doing this comedy stuff?
What the hell am I doing? And maybe I'm better than I thought. And then somebody sent me a video being like, this is you last night. And I was like, oh, no, everybody's drunk.
Oh, no, everyone's just really nice.
Everyone's just
Look, I'm sure you're fantastic as well. But it's like, it's fantastic in a comedy scene. Or comedy crowd comparatively to like fantastic in a musical where you're like, oh, all of you are like the most talented people in the room. Yeah. And you're all in the room together. And I am just going to go and sit down with my pregnant belly and tap my toes.
Literally. And I remember there was some comics in the green room either around that time or after just being like, why don't you do musicals? Or why don't you do like if
Have you ever thought about being in a musical?
And I was like, yeah, not for lack
Chicago's
of
on just
fucking
now,
trying.
Jordan. Have you thought about being in? Have you ever tried getting on Neighbours before?
It was the same thing, and they meant well, but I was like, I fully was like, oh, I tried really hard to get into musicals for about 4 years.
That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I have no regrets. I much prefer comedies and musicals, like performing in hindsight. And it's made me actually like musicals more now that I'm not doing it. I never used to listen to musical soundtracks ever since uni because I was just like, I fucking hate this. It's too triggering. It's whatever.
If you work in it, you can't enjoy it.
I can't enjoy it. And now I listen to them all the time and I'm such a freak.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I cannot sing or dance. And musicals are the one show that I will relentlessly see. I listen to the soundtracks all the fucking time. Like, and my Spotify Wrapped every year is like, Come From Away, Beetlejuice. I was in the top 4% of the Beetlejuice fans from 2 years ago. Oh my God, that's so
funny. I'm going to sing Dead Mom tomorrow night
for
comedians audition for musicals. If it goes well, I'll tell you about it. If it doesn't, well,
I'll be looking out for the videos online.
I'll look out for it. But I've never been able to dance, and I would sometimes the closest I would get to musicals is if they had singing calls first.
Oh, okay.
So I would get through the singing call and then have to go to the dance call. And I would lie through my fucking teeth. I would sing. They would get me to do scales. And if they were impressed, they'd be like, can you tap or can you do the splits? Or like they'd ask some question just being like, can you dance? And I would be like, definitely more of a mover, but I can keep up. Or I would just be like, yes. I would just be like, yes, I can dance.
I'll do whatever you want me to get this job.
It was and one time I went to a audition for West Side Story. And
pretty dance heavy show.
Pretty dance heavy. That was dance first.
Yep.
And I used to really love dance calls because everybody else took them so seriously. And I was like, I'm getting a free exercise class because I am not getting this. Like I'm here to show face and to maybe make them laugh.
Yeah, okay,
and they might remember me, but I know I'm not getting into West Side Story. Nor would it be appropriate for me to play any of the sharks.
I was going to ask that as well because was this the 2 years ago or whenever it was?
It was a couple.
A little bit longer.
It was like 2015, I think. That was the audition. It was like fresh out of uni, and like. I decided in this moment to, like, in the dance call, couldn't keep up with the choreo. We were doing America, which is the Puerto Rican song.
Firstly,
First of all, no. And I was just like fully like, just like screaming, like whenever they were like, give us a character. And I just like, hell yeah.
Like a Texas cowboy.
Because I didn't know any Puerto Rican. So I'd just be like, yoo-hoo. Like I couldn't. So I didn't want to like make up stuff. Some people were like yelling out like, some people were yelling out fucking made up words. And I was like, 2015.
At least you didn't do that.
I don't think I did. I like to think that I didn't. I do remember saying, hell yeah.
Well, we can write our own history, Jordan. So no, you didn't.
Yeah, we did. I definitely did. No. But then that was like, and people were laughing at me, and I enjoyed that because I was like, it is funny.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Laugh. But I think
that's such a bombastic dance.
Yeah.
Skirt like twirling and stomping. Oh
my God.
Back and forths.
Yeah, I had a full audition skirt on and everything. It was so funny. And then didn't get through.
Yeah, okay.
You'd be shocked to believe.
Fair enough.
Didn't make it through the first half. But the one that was really funny was when I auditioned for Cats, the Korea tour.
Oh, that was recent, right? That was 2 years ago, I think.
Oh, they keep going back.
Do they?
This was 2016.
Wow. They've been going to Korea for that long.
Yeah. Wow. They fucking love it over there. It is constantly touring.
Cats is one of my least favourite musicals, unless we're talking about the live-action Cats.
Then that's
Rebel
hilarious.
Wilson and James Corden ruined that film for me, but I fucking unironically love that.
That is so
a
funny.
fever dream, and I love a swing for the fence, and I love a musical as well, but I hate the live action. Sorry, not live action. I hate like the in-person.
The theatre cat. Yeah, it's a bad show. It's a bad show.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it with my family when I was like 15 or 16 when the big tour is in Australia, and my dad left halfway through. Like, he doesn't really like musicals in general.
Okay.
And he left halfway through and got a cheeseburger and was just sitting out the front with the ushers just talking about how shit it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we came out at interval and we're like, are you coming back in? He was like, no.
Why would I? It's weirdly like they've got those big mad mains on.
Yes. And they come into the crowd and they like play with your shoelaces.
Yeah.
My brothers and I were like, what the fuck?
the weird like spandex outfits, which I'm like, I'm for, man. Like, get your body out there. But in the musical, it's fucking weird, man.
And if they were going to be like anatomically correct, all those female cats would have had like 8 tits, right?
Yeah, right. I want to see their buttholes. The buttholes cut of cats. Ass. Show me that.
It's so funny. But I auditioned for this tour. I got through the singing round and I had a callback.
Nice.
And my agent at the time, who is no longer an agent.
I've had an agent in the past who's no longer an agent. We must say who they are off podcast.
I will. But I said, they know that I can't, because she called me after because it was one of those ones where they call you later if you have a callback. They don't tell you on the spot.
Oh, okay.
And she called me and she was like, she was very much a big things are happening this year, like all talk, but then also like terrible at her job.
Won't reply and be like, I missed the deadline.
Yeah. And I think she's a good person. I think she was just bad at management. I think she was having a tough time as well.
Yeah, look, it's not for everyone.
No.
You can be a good person and a bad manager.
And exactly.
Agent. Yeah.
And then, and I was like, they know that I can't dance right because I was auditioning for Grisabella or the Grisabella cover.
Oh, wow.
Which would be off stage.
Yep.
And I would only have to come on if the main Grisabella couldn't do it one night.
Yep.
And she was like, yeah, they know that. You're just doing a movers call. I show up the next day. It is a full fucking ballet tap dance call. You've never seen anything like it. Everybody's they were like, all right, show us your tricks. People are flipping. I'm off the back like I can barely do a fucking can. And I'm like, and I was laughing because I was like, okay, here's another incredible dance call moment for me. And
it's going down right into the brain. Forever etched in there.
And part of me was like, maybe they know that I'm not a dancer, but they just want to see me in the room.
They just want to see me amongst all these cats.
Yeah.
See how I fit in the cat
And
world.
I was like, maybe when I get cut, it's not a real cut. It's just cut from this potential role. Yep. It was cut. It was, you've never seen anyone more cut in their life. And the lady who runs the dance calls, it's the same chick every time. She's this tiny British woman, and she was just like laughing, and she'd be like, "Oh, doll, how are you going over there?" British accent. But it was funny. Like I genuinely found it really warm. Like she wasn't like, ew, yucky, you're bad. She was like, come here, what are you doing? And was clearly like, why have they got this girl through to do the dance call when she can't dance?
That's
or like,
nice.
They've fucked it up. And then she comes over to me and this like other chick, and she was like, okay, so she was like, the only way I can put you through is if you can tap.
Oh. And
she was like, can you tap? And I said, I can tap. And she was like,
okay.
And I'm pretty sure my memory of her is going, why don't we just go for it, shall we? And I was like, let's just do it.
I love this lady.
And she was cute. And I think she's like known to be like nasty. But I have this thing with choreographers sometimes where I think I get on their good side because I'm so terrible at dancing.
Yeah.
That there's something about that they find really redeeming.
They're like, I just want to nurse this injured bird back to health.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, they're like, you got that one bit wrong. You're like, you didn't get one part right. But I quite like this.
I quite like it. And then I did the tap, and she went, and she goes, I finished the tap bit, and she goes, and she's like, great, girl. So step the back, and she goes, why don't we call it love? And I was like, let's go. And she was like, but good for you. Like, it was so fully like,
I love
and I was
this
like,
lady.
all right, see you later. And I was just laughing. And it was just like, I don't know. I think that was also probably a sign that I didn't really want it that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or I never really wanted it hard enough because I just gave up immediately.
Yeah, instantly be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Thank you, though.
Yeah, see you later.
It was a nice little exercise class.
Bit of fun. Yeah, exactly. I got to work out. That's cool.
Yeah.
But that was
probably... wear my tap shoes.
Yeah. There's so many dance calls that I remember that are so funny and so bad. That one was great because I felt it was just me and her and the rest of the world didn't matter.
And you eloped together and still together to this day.
But I think the best one was when I was struggling so hard with a movers call for Matilda. And this was like, I, again, got through the singing call. And they were like, you just have to do the movers call. You don't even have to dance. Moving is just like...
What is a movers call?
It's basically like you're going to potentially be on stage while there's a lot of dancing happening, and you might have to join in on the choreography, put your hands up a couple of times and stuff like that. And it's just like you're not doing complex choreography. we're not expecting you to do kicks and like flips and stuff or
Yeah.
anything too dramatic, but you will have to move.
Yes. You can't just sit with a pregnant belly and tap your feet.
Yeah, you will be expected to move about. And I just could not fucking get it. I did not get this dance at all. It was so hard. And then I went and saw Matilda, and it is not even performed by the adults. It was performed by the children.
So you were auditioning for the children's role?
No, but they gave the choreography for these kids to the adult movers in the audition.
Wow.
And it was sorry, I'm doing the choreo again. But it was so funny just being like, I have been bested by a 10-year-old yet again.
Well, I was like, if the adults are struggling with it and those fucking kids are doing it, plus, I mean, school every day and actually singing all the time, and
they're very talented.
I mean, they are. They're disgusting.
They're
those,
fucking
like,
assholes.
I know.
And I love
so
that you
rude.
said the adults. It was just me.
Oh, was it?
It was just adults.
Did the podcast dog break in through my barricade on the door this time again? Oh, goodness me. Well, Jordan, I think we're going to bring it towards an end. Do we have any story that we particularly want to finish on? We did. We're wrapping it up now.
Nah, I think I covered. I got my big bomb, got someone trying to get money back, got me getting humiliated in dance calls over and over again.
A few different dance calls
a
as
few
well.
different dance calls. It is funny. The one thing I will say is that like I get more auditions for like TV shows or ads and stuff because of comedy now, which I find quite funny.
Yeah, always, especially I see it a lot as well when I'm auditioning. Like, we'd love a comedian. We'd love a comedian.
Always.
Yeah.
And then I'm like getting more acting work from doing comedy than I ever did.
Irony.
Yeah.
Doing acting.
And my manager now will call me and like, if I don't get stuff, which is most of the time.
That's all of us.
It's all of us. But he'll be just calling. He'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like, it didn't go through, but like, they really loved you, really positive feedback, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, you don't have to like dress it up so much. I was cut. Like, I was like, just remember that I was in a cattle call for West Side Story. Like, the stuff that I have been cut from so brutally.
Yeah. And that's it as well. The theatre auditions.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Theatre, you always think like it's such a cool, inclusive space.
Yeah.
Everyone behind the scenes, the old school ones especially.
Yeah.
Or more so, I should say, just miserable.
Oh my God.
Horrible people. So
so funny.
I think if you've done theatre or musical theatre, you're like, yeah, man, it's fine. They're super polite in TV and film.
Yes, yeah. I was
so
like,
nice.
it's just nice. It's an honor to be nominated. You know?
Just so thank you. Like, thank you for having me in. I was honestly just not doing anything else today, so like, this is lovely. How are you doing?
It was a great audition experience. You know, I feel good about it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
you
that
get hardened with these bad experiences,
don't you? And then you're just like, you're so jaded, and you're like, I've not even been successful enough to be jaded yet. Why am I so jaded?
It's funny though.
But yes, thank you. I think to finish off the show as well, you said you had been working on your Puerto Rican accent from
Oh my God,
the
don't.
Sharks.
Don't.
So if you want to give us a few made up words for that as well.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for finally coming on as well, Jordan.
I'm sorry about the message.
No, I'm so joking.
I genuinely didn't see it.
I'm so joking. No, it's absolute pleasure to have you on. If people want to find you, where are you? What do you have coming up? Just turn on your fucking radio in your car.
Yeah, literally, I'm on Weekend Arvos on Triple J, but I follow me on Instagram, jbar_666. But also, if you're Scottish, I'm going to be in Edinburgh. Well, yeah, I'm talking to you. If you really are.
No, I promise I am. I just have an easier to understand accent.
True.
But yes, you've got the Edinburgh Fringe then.
Yeah, I'm going to do a show called Beast. It's a new show, so I look forward to writing it.
Oh. On the plane ride over?
No.
When you get there.
The car ride to the plane ride.
Nice.
Yeah.
From the plane ride, the Uber to your accommodation. Do you know the dates? Otherwise, they will be in the show notes, obviously.
I'll be there the whole festival.
The entire festival?
Yeah.
Sick. Do you know your venue yet?
Yes, I'm at Cocktail Mafia, and it's free Fringe, so it's free, but I would love a tip. I think I have to ask
free.
for tips.
You don't have to pay, Jordan. I actively encourage you not to, actually. I'm joking. Donations, it's not free. It is pay what you feel.
Pay what you feel.
Yeah.
I guess. I feel like I'm going to be so awkward asking for tips, but we'll see how we go.
Jordan's going to be there with like a top hat afterwards and being shaking it at you.
Shaking it. Yeah,
Dressed as the Monopoly man. This needs to be full.
Please.
Only gold coins.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
LD.
The podcast dogs come to knock over the... There we go. knock over the microphone again. Do you have any other gigs coming up for closer to home just now as well, or just keep an eye out on the socials?
Keep an eye out. I'm gigging around Melbourne. That's where I do it. But
yeah, beautiful. So you no longer at the zoo as well. People can't come down and watch
No,
you
you can't heckle the elephant talk. Sorry.
Missed out, suckers. This is going to come out for the last weekend of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival as well. Any recommendations for people that they should go and check out?
Yes, you should go see Irvi Majumdar, Prue Blake, or Bronwyn Cuss. I would also recommend Oliver Coleman too.
Yeah, awesome.
Great time.
Friend of the show.
Yes,
love Oliver.
Love.
Yeah, I would obviously say all of them as well. Cameron James has a show on just now as well. Lauren Bonner, Danielle Walker, Nina Oyama, Annie Louie. I'm going to be forgetting names as well, but please go and try and check out as much as you can on this final weekend of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. As for myself, I just had a little trailer drop for a feature film that's coming out in cinemas later this year.
So cool.
Yeah, so if you go to Cinema Australia or Scream Hub Australia, I think that's the two places that have it just now. Ancestry Road, check that out. Set in Scotland.
Huge.
Yep. Oh God, so sorry. The
She
podcast
wants
dog
to be
has
on the
just
mic.
pushed over the entire
Set in
microphone
Scotland.
setup.
Filmed where? Filmed in
know.
Tasmania.
Filmed in Tasmania.
Yeah. I knew it. As soon as you're like set in Scotland, I was like, it'd be filmed in
Filmed
Tasmania.
in miserable old Tasmania.
It's our Scotland.
Yes, go and check it out. I'll link that in the show notes as well. But then, same as every week, you can find me Muirhead, Muirhead, on most of the socials. If you did like the show as well, please. Oh my God, I'm getting attacked by the podcast dog just now, so I'm going to have to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Yes, rate us 5 stars, please. Oh God. Patreon.com/, won't be forgetting that pod. Won't be forgetting that pod across most of the socials as well. If there's no shows for the next couple of weeks, it's because I've been eaten by my dog. Thank you. And Jordan's recording this as well. I'll put this up on the Instagram afterwards. But thank you so much for finally coming on again as well, Jordan.
Thank you, my pleasure.
And thank you, podcast dog.